Hello, everyone. How are you today? I'm Danae. I'm so glad that you're going to join me. Today is another ugly painting day. This is my ugly painting journal, and what I mean by ugly painting is just that I paint whatever I want, whatever colors I want, whatever stencils I want, whatever I feel like doing. I let myself do without any commitment to even finishing or creating a piece that is cohesive or something that I would hang on a wall. It's just a chance for me to get out my ugly painting and just create freely. And this is just an ordinary notebook. This was a gift someone gave me. It was a very special, sweet gift. And it's just a regular, kind of slightly thicker than copy paper. It's not meant for painting, but it's what I use it for. So I glued together 3 pages, and it gives me a really stiff page. And I tape the inside just to keep the paint from spilling out and, getting into my other ugly paintings. I have found that the paint does come off if I'm not completely dry before I close it. But you know what? It's an ugly painting, so it doesn't matter. So today, get out your art supplies and let's create some ugly art together and just have fun. Whatever is on your desk is the right place to start, and create without boxing yourself in or limiting yourself in any way. And let's have some fun together. The fun thing about making ugly art is it doesn't matter where you start or what you do or what techniques you use or don't use or what mess you make. It's just a free, intuitive, creative process with no judgment. So I pulled out some of my favorite colors. This is an antique copper, and I've got some transparent red iron oxide, some mustard, some transparent yellow iron oxide, and I'm going to add some Payne's gray. Whenever I start to feel discouraged or stuck in any way or just frustrated with my creative art process, then doing a painting in my ugly journal is one of my favorite ways to just kind of reset, unblock and have some fun. And it doesn't matter what colors, ugly colors, pretty colors, kind of the point is to make an ugly painting. But these 2 colors are like magic. Doesn't that look yummy? Oh my gosh, I was so inspired by the copper and the transparent red iron oxide. So beautiful. And this is a mustard color. I started using the color cube to just make videos and to have fun. And Sarah Renee Clark uses a lot of mustard, and I didn't have a mustard that I felt was a good match for her color cubes. And I was using yellow ochre for a while, and I just didn't quite like it. Anyway, I finally mixed my own mustard, and that was the one that I've used here in this video. And it has become one of my favorite colors to use. And prior to my journey with the color cube, I would say yellow was probably one of the colors I used the least in my painting. I like yellow. I like to look at yellow. I think yellow is a really happy, wonderful, versatile color, but I just never painted with it. So this mustard has really changed me. Here I've pulled out a stencil from Stencil Girl, and I've used this in at least one other video. It was a jelly printing video. And I was looking at these shapes inside all of these little squiggle lines, and I thought those would make some really interesting marks on their own. And so I've just got a blender brush here with some Payne's Gray. It looks black, but this is Payne's Gray. And I'm not even like being very neat about it. I'm just scrubbing in these marks. I'm really curious to see how they look, and I'm really happy with the random sort of marks that they make. I think this was a really brilliant way to use this stencil. I'm not sure that the creator would have necessarily thought of these inside marks as being their own like stencil mark, but it works. Yeah, I'm really happy with how they're kind of chunky and they have this just really odd shape, because they're byproducts of the squiggly lines. So I think that worked out really, really well, and I'm super happy with that. I'll put the name of this stencil in the description box if you want to look it up. So I did let it dry, and now I'm coming in with this solid marker. I have a couple of these solid markers, and they're really fun. They're quite a dense texture, but I feel like I don't use them enough. And so for my ugly paintings, I like to pull out things that I feel like I don't use enough. And this gives me practice and some confidence. And this video is sped up, but you can see I didn't really spend much time thinking about the marks. I just made the marks. What's also fun about these solid markers is that while they're wet, you can scratch into them like I've just done and leave some really interesting marks. I'm putting this on quite heavy and thick so that I can scratch through it. And yeah, I love that. These are really fun. They take a little bit of time to dry down completely, but they do dry down completely. And I'm just showing you here that there's quite a lot of paint still in the tube. So I think they're a really fun product. I have it in black, white, and in hot pink. I bought these metal sheets for a project I was working on, and I found these. So it's a gold metal sheet with some kind of, I don't know, somehow they've tempered it and it's come up with this really interesting pattern. So I wanted to give those a try. And I have this idea in my head, which is, again, another great place for, your ugly painting is to try things that are brand new. So I thought I could put this metal sheet onto my jelly plate because I want to break it up. And this keeps the sheet, from flying everywhere because it's stuck to the jelly plate, but it lets me break it up. And then I was thinking, if I added matte medium to the page, would it stick and pull the metal leaf off the jelly plate? Because I want those like shatter patterns. I don't want a whole sheet, but I also don't want it flying everywhere. So that worked, sort of. Some of the pieces did stay on, some did not. So I'm going to try again. I'm also going to go over the top, and I'm like, come off, come off. Yeah, it still didn't come off. I'm going to go over the top of the gold leaf with more matte medium. So stamping it down without the matte medium did pull some more off, so that was good. The matte medium on top is just going to help seal that leaf into the painting. but the rest of that does not want to come off. I'm like, get off. Get off my gel plate. Yeah, it did not want to come off. So I'm going to try it again. And so I've got another little piece and I've broken it up. I think this is a really good way to, break up um, all that gold leaf. But yeah, it does not want to stick. So, okay, another attempt, another idea. What if I add it to like a reverse gel plate situation? So I'm going to stamp it down and leave it now and see if it will dry. And I'm going to take some more of this and rip it up. I found that this was, I'm like trying to crush it up, but it did not. So I think because of whatever this saturated color is, it kind of strengthened the gold leaf. So I've got to, pull it apart with my fingers. It's not just crumbling like some other gold leaf sheets. And then it's still taking too long, so I thought I would just go at it, hack at it with my scissors. I wanted some small, random sort of pieces. So yeah, I think that was a little bit more robust than some other metal sheets that I've got. And now I'm going to just kind of like sprinkle, put sprinklings on my cupcake here, my my ugly painting. Just sprinkle it down, and I'm hoping that if I put the matte medium down and then sprinkle the gold leaf on top, it'll be enough to catch it and make it stick. And then I'm going to put the matte medium on top of the leaf as well to make sure that it's sealed down into the painting. And I found that the gold leaf really liked sticking to my silicone brush here, especially with the matte medium on it. And so the struggle was I had it on my silicone brush and I couldn't get it to go down onto my painting. So I'm just repeating this same pattern over and over. Again, this is an ugly art journal, so I don't have to be careful about, putting too much down. So this worked a little bit. I probably could have let it dry even longer. And you can see I'm like scraping it. Get off. I could have probably left it a little bit longer and had even a better outcome. But I was happy with that, and I was ready to move on anyway. So I've covered everything with the matte medium, and I'm just using a pair of scissors here to scrape out this harsh edge because I just want it to look kind of wild and, gold metal leaf in its natural environment. So I don't think I used one full sheet for this whole page here. I just pulled off bits of it. And it does make a very interesting addition to the page. The gold is really cool, but I love the little touches of like turquoise in there. So here's what it looks like up close. You can see how the stamping of them did leave some of those cracks, which is what I was after. Once that's dry, I just want to show you that those leaves are now embedded into this painting. They're not going to peel off or scratch off because I've put the medium on top. So here's the transparent yellow iron oxide. One of the things I love to do with transparent yellow iron oxide and also with my mustard is to create a glaze. I think it makes a beautiful finishing glaze, but I didn't want to cover up all of the white spaces. So I'm just adding it into some places that I think it will like boost the color. You can see the difference between before and after, and it just, oh, yellow iron oxide, transparent yellow iron oxide is one of my favorite colors. So I was really liking the way this was going, and that kind of started telling me I'm playing it a little bit too safe. This is Ugly Art Journal. We've got to make it crazy. So I've pulled out some bubble wrap and some fluorescent magenta to see what it will do. And wow, what a difference it makes. It's just this random, exciting pop of color, but what a bold choice. Sometimes you just got to do like the crazy, bold move, and then you find that it's absolutely spectacular. But if it hadn't worked out, it wouldn't have mattered because I would have tried it and then I would have known fluorescent magenta might not be the way to go. But look at this. This combination is so yummy. It made me so excited. I was trying to keep the white kind of white, but I let some of those fluorescent magenta spots show. And I'm just trying to get some of that paint off my paintbrush. So I decided to go ahead and make a glaze with the mustard. This is how I make my glaze. This is not necessarily the best way or the right way. This is just the way that I have found works really well for me. To add a tiny bit of color and then a bunch of matte medium. You could use a gloss medium and then a tiny bit of water. And I realized after I made the glaze that I actually meant to use the transparent yellow iron oxide instead of the mustard. So I added a tiny bit of the red, transparent red iron oxide. And it gave me this like weird orange, which I thought for sure was going to be ugly. So I decided that I had to use it. And it's kind of cool. And it's very thin. It's very, very, very thin. So I'm going over even the gold leaf, and I decided to go over the Payne's Gray and just give everything a coat of this weird orange glaze. And for the most part, I really like it. Glazing helps unify all of the colors in really interesting ways. And it won't, because it's very thin, it's not going to diminish the gold leaf, the shine of that gold leaf. But it is a matte medium, so it will affect some of it, but not enough for it to like ruin the gold leaf effect. And I just keep adding a little bit at a time. I decided in the end that I didn't like the orange glaze on top of the Payne's Gray. So I've made it. I've made a Payne's Gray glaze using the exact same technique. So a tiny bit of color, a bunch of matte medium, and some water. And now I'm just going to go over all of the Payne's Gray and kind of cover up that yellow orange that I added. What's really cool about Payne's Gray as a glaze is it creates this really dark, shaded kind of look. And so if you need some really subtle shading, Payne's Gray glaze is one of the great ways. Here I'm showing you what it looks like. And you can buff it out and just leave it in places. Yeah, it's a really, really nice way to shade some areas. I'm just going to keep going over those dark spots. I decided I really wanted them to be quite dark. and not blend in. So here again, you can see how adding the shading and the glaze, it's really cool. So here's some more. And I like to blot it out a bit so it's not a solid bit of color. And here I'm calling it done. What do you think? You can still see a lot of the background with those those mustard stripes I started with at the very beginning, but you can see all of the layers coming up, including those fluorescent magenta circles, which turned out really good. I'm very happy with how this ended. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this is inspiring and that you will endeavor to make some ugly art and have fun, be creative, try wild things, try things you would never ever do in a piece that you were trying to really create, and just explore and have fun. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.